All right. What up, everybody? Welcome to the Game Drain with your boy Ham Solo. Also with new panel member Hard Days Mike, and then we got Matt Likes Game here as usual. We're gonna be having Twan come back, but he's doing some family stuff, and we actually lost foremost due to just some scheduling issues and whatnot. So we are going to continue on, and we're going to open up this podcast with what we've been playing lately. So I'm going to go to our, you know, first time panel member, Hard Days Mike. Let us know what's going on, what you've been playing, bruh.
Well, I only got Matt to thank for this, but I've been playing Skyrim like there's no tomorrow. That's all I've been playing for like the last week. All he did was mention its name, and I just re-downloaded it, and I've been hooked onto it pretty much ever since. I don't even know how many. I think I've already put like 2 days into it in the span of a week, and that's for someone that like doesn't really play his games as much as I used to. It's huge. That game is
Yeah,
fantastic. It is genuinely fantastic.
greatest game ever made.
I really do feel like that personally.
Yeah.
Um, the levels of depth. I don't know how in depth I'm supposed to go saying this right now. So let me know when to shut up. But
You're all right.
it's incredible. It's just you walk into a random place and you get a quest line that lasts like 2 hours, and it's a random just side quest. It's crazy. It's just fantastic. I love it.
All right.
Yep.
All right. Now, Matt, what's going on? What you been playing, bruh?
Well, it's a lot of the same. It's a lot of the same to Mike, really. I'm playing Skyrim because Mike got into it and then he got me back into it. So now I'm playing that while also trying to get through, the original God of War series and somewhere in there also start Devil May Cry.
Mm.
But yeah, that's what I've been playing. A lot of Skyrim mostly, pretty much.
Right on.
Y'all need to chill on the Skyrim.
No,
Unnecessary.
Greatest
that
game
train
ever.
ain't
Unnecessary.
stopping. I got one of like those.
Unnecessary. I'm
Greatest game
just.
ever, him.
It just isn't.
It
You know.
is.
You know what the
Personally,
greatest
I think
game ever
Crossfire X is
is?
the best game.
A game I
What's that,
haven't
man?
seen yet. A game I haven't even seen yet. I think it's gonna surpass it.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's
Uh,
gonna surpass it. I think
Starfield?
Starfield's gonna
Starfield.
surpass it. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Dude, I hope. I wouldn't be surprised if it does.
Yeah, I think that's gonna
We hope
surpass it.
so.
I haven't seen anything yet, and I'm talking completely out of my ass right now, and I'm okay with that.
Well, listen,
I'm okay
that's the
with it.
dream. I
That's
hope
the
so.
dream.
Seriously.
I hope you're right. I would
All
love that.
all right, so me, I've been playing. I mean, y'all know me. I kind of just bounce around from game to game to game to game, but I've been playing Devil May Cry. Got to number 2. I'm about 5 levels, 6 levels deep into that. Um, Also, some Tiny Tinas. I invested like 3 hours of that in today, like 3 hours more than what I had before. Into that, some Ghost of Tsushima, as you see on the screen. I've been just dragging myself to try Gran Turismo. Still, I'm still working on trying to enjoy that game. Stop with that face, Matt. Stop making that face. I'm doing my best. I'm just
Oh.
trying to like it, and it's just
$70
not.
banger.
Yeah,
It's,
you should have to. You should just like it because it's good. You know?
but
And it's greatness. So.
oh man,
Uh,
and I've also been playing what we're gonna be talking about here in just a moment. And
oh
that
yeah.
in that game would be We Happy Few, as you
Yep.
guys see on the screen right now.
Best game.
We all played that collectively, and that happens to be our dope concepts that suck to play. I'm gonna try to start leaving
Yeah.
the F word out of it because I just feel like it's unnecessary to throw that in.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's dope concepts that suck to play, and it's gonna be We Happy Few that we talk about this week. Who would like to go first and just run down your thoughts on this game?
Um, Dude, if I will go first, if nobody else wants to,
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
because this. Okay, so it's a game that I was super excited for back when it first came out. I mean, before it came out, when they were showing the trailers, and I thought the concept of it, like some dystopian place where everyone's medicated to stop you from seeing the reality in which you are living in. I thought that was genius.
There's a
And
movie about that too, if you've ever seen it. It's called Equilibrium. Fantastic
actually
movie
haven't
with
seen that.
Christian Bale.
Actually haven't seen that, but I do know
Gun
Christian Bale's in it.
gun martial arts is the thing with that movie. But please continue. I'll have to send you a link later.
So yeah, because I want to check that out actually. But the game itself, the writing. I mean, me and Mike talked about this. The writing is really good. Like it's super super good, but it's just not enough for me to put up with the game, like playing the actual game itself. It's like I've said it multiple times in the party, the balance that they want you to strike with like just the way you take joy in that game, which is the drug that you take in that game that you're like forced to take if you go into the city, really.
Joy.
They want you to strike a balance with it that's like you have to do enough to always be on it, but you can't overdo it, otherwise you get memory loss. And if you get memory loss, then everyone's eyes turn red and they beat the shit out of you. And
It's like real
and
life.
if you
Just kidding.
and if yeah, exactly. And if you don't take the drug and you get withdrawal, then people look at you funny and they beat the shit out of you.
Like
So
real
it's
life.
like
Sorry.
so it's like you just keep taking it to not get the shit beat out of you, and then eventually you take too much and you get the shit beat out of you. And they don't give you any hints on where anything is. They tell you, like Ham had to tell me that there was actually a card on the bench that I could use to get into the building I needed to go into to finish the mission that I was trying to do. And by the time he told me that, I was already done playing. I was like, I can't play any more of this. So it's stuff like that. Like the objective's not always clear. They don't tell you how to do it, or like what you need to get before you do it. They just kind of say, here it is, figure it out, and if you don't like it, then screw you, kind of. And I can't. I just can't. I want to like that game a lot, but I really can't.
Yeah.
How about you, Mike? What's going on, bro? How was your venture through?
It's simply the best
yeah.
video game ever made. That's no. It's I
Five
really
stars.
yeah, 6 stars out of 5, or 7. What is that? 5 out of 7, or whatever that meme was. Anyways,
Exactly.
it's the concept is awesome. The art
Yep.
style is awesome. The storytelling is fucking fantastic. I swear I'm only playing the game though to get to the cutscenes. Like, there's so many parts where you need to have a specific item. Like, there was this door I had a lockpick into, and I didn't have any lockpicks. So it took me like 30 minutes. I had to go to like a different side of the map to go find a trash can to, like, I don't know, find some cans to turn into bobby pins and run all the way back just to open the door, just to stab another door. 5 seconds later, I need to lock. It's just like,
Yeah.
it's just a pain in the ass to put it
100%.
lightly. Like, I don't know. I feel like, it's totally fine if they want to have mechanic. You need a lockpick to get in there, but I would recommend, at least if it's required, maybe putting it somewhere in the immediate vicinity for you can at least craft it, or maybe one for you to pick up. It's like there's a lot of things this game requires you to have, but you have no access to it, or it's very unclear about how you get to it.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the game would have probably been better off if it was probably linear, to be honest with you. Even like a more linear. I mean, it kind of is when you think about it. It's not really open world, but it kind of is. It's weird.
There's a lot of
yeah.
misdirections that you can take that will make you take way longer to do something simple.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's times where I've gotten like into villages that are just doors you can't even open, and there's just nothing.
Yeah, dude, I hate that.
It's just
I hate
nothing.
that.
You just go up to every door and just it's sealed, and then there's like 4 guys with cricket bats ready to beat the shit out of you. It's like, okay, well, and you loot them and they have nothing on them. It's like,
and you can't fight back. I mean, you can't fight back once you're in the city because they don't give you a weapon. You have to find a weapon in the city, and it's hard as shit to find a weapon in the city.
it is.
So like, if you get in a confrontation in the city, you're kind of just you're kind of screwed unless you can lose them and hide somewhere. But other than that, you're kind of screwed.
And from my knowledge, they like laser pinpoint onto you and find you. Like they're pretty like relentless in the city.
It's weird. Sometimes they can be really dumb and lose you super quick, and sometimes they'll find you no matter what you do.
Yeah, I
So,
think I'm honestly. Oh, just to say super quick, Cam.
go
Sorry.
ahead, please go ahead.
I think I might. I'm gonna probably give it a bit more time. Just I'm gonna try. It
Yeah.
sucks that you can't put it. You can't change the difficulty when you're playing. I'd honestly just drop it down the story because to me, like actually fighting people and knocking them out is actually kind of entertaining. But like everything else in between is just really putting me off. And I don't really know if I want to
Yeah,
put.
I don't
Apparently, the
blame
game's
you.
like 20 hours long. Like I don't
Uh,
want to have to deal for 20 hours of trying to find a lockpick or trying
oh,
to find a torn suit to wear or taking
yeah,
pills.
no.
Like it's like I don't know if I can do that. I need a game. I want to play a game. I want to play a video game. I don't want
Yeah,
to
same
stress
here.
out.
Same here. It's very stressful. Good point.
Not in a good way.
No, not at all.
All right, so my turn to hop on here. It is
Yes.
my turn. All right, so this game, as Mike and Matt so eloquently put, it is a good looking game. The game looks fantastic. It's, it has that Series S and X upgrade on it, so what you're getting is gonna look good at least. And
Not.
it looks like a mixture. Like when I first turned this on, it gave me a mixture of like Fable meets Fallout when I first
Okay.
turned it on, and I was
I can
just
see
like,
that.
man, this is really cool. The story seems pretty dope, and it's very intriguing the way that they like pull you into the world, especially initially with that. Remember that rat on the table? It was like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
wait a second,
Yeah.
like
It's
what just
gross.
happened?
that was surreal. They. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Go on.
That's
So
so
yeah,
gross.
so that was really wild. But the thing that bothered me even more than one of my biggest pet peeves in video games, which is your weapons breaking, I hate that. That is a big piece of that game. But the most annoying part of that game was that I had to loot to continue the story. And I'm not talking about like lock picks and stuff like that
Yeah.
particularly. I'm talking about like to actually do the storyline. I'm not really doing much fun stuff. I'm just like searching constantly. I'm
Yeah.
constantly looking through things and just like it feels like every mission is me going through a filing cabinet.
Yeah.
And it's really
No, I get that. It really.
it's really frustrating and like it's exhausting after a little bit, and then on top of that I'm balancing my health meter with these bandages that you need to wrap when you're bleeding, which is fine, but the way they implemented the joy meter on top of all that, it's like, man, I'm worried so much about survival that I can barely pay attention to the mission that I'm trying to take care of right now. So
Yeah.
it's just like, I feel like that game would have been better and easier and more easier to digest if I could just simply feel more comfortable about and having time to just look around and take care of my objective instead of constantly needing to, oh crap, I need to run to some phone booth and take a pill real quick or go
Yeah.
find some
Yeah.
pills to pop so people stop
Yeah.
staring at me weird and trying to kill me on sight. And it's just
Yeah.
kind of it just slows down a lot of things, and I think pacing is probably one of the biggest issues of this game.
Would it be all right if I throw in another point?
Sure, go ahead.
One thing to me too is like just to focus on the storytelling. It is like I won't swear. It is freaking brilliant. I actually
Yeah, it
think
is.
it is like if the gameplay was up there, it'd be some of the best writing and storytelling. It's genuinely incredible. I am so involved into this world. Like some of my favorite storytelling, and they kind of captured it much like actually a Bethesda game. I'm not comparing it, but you'll understand in a minute. The scenery storytelling is incredible. Like you go
Yeah.
through this abandoned house and you're reading all these crazy notes on the wall, and you're hearing this record player somewhere upstairs. And as you're going up the house, you're seeing all the writing on the walls, and it said they were just children. They were so small. How could we do this? All this stuff, and then you go upstairs, and the couple they both killed themselves for what they did, and like that right there I was like, whoa. Like,
Yeah.
you go into these houses and, like, there'll be, like, mannequins in cribs because their children were taken from them and they went insane. Like, right now, like, I'm the only reason why I even considering going back to play it is I want to know what the hell's going on. Why the heck did the Germans apparently leave but want to take children with them? What does that even mean? Who did they win the war? Did they lose the war? Because I'm hearing 20 different stories. The storytelling is so good and so engaging. It's just such a shame. Everything else about it is like just not it. It's like I swear like I could like because like you said the scene with the rat ham or Matt. Sorry, I'm like drawing blanks right now. Who said that originally?
Yeah, it says
Ham, I
ham.
think. Like I was freaked out and I was so engaged. And then it's like go craft this. Go craft this. Go craft this. I'm like I don't know. I just feel like they built a really cool world for you to want to survive in, but I kind of think they had such a story to tell and they just didn't kind of set up the gameplay for it. I don't know. It's like feels very discombobulated or disconnected might be the word. And it
When
just
when I hear go craft in games, I just like it feels so rinse and repeat. To be honest, like I feel like man, I craft in so many games. Like
yeah.
sometimes, I mean, I'm not just talking about this one. Like just in general, sometimes it feels like repetitive on video games, and it just kind of reminds you of other games, whether you have to craft or not, and it just kind of gets old. Like sometimes I just want to play a game. It seems like a really dope story. I want to understand the story, but like some of that tedious stuff that Matt was talking about, like lock picks and how you were talking, like for instance, one of the biggest issues as well in this game is sometimes it will tell you to go somewhere without telling you that you need to grab something where you're at right now.
Yeah.
So like it'll tell you to go 1,000 meters this way or feet or whatever. You go all the way over there and you're like looking around trying to do what you're supposed to do. And then after about an hour of you doing that, or a half hour, or 15 minutes, or however much time you want to say you wasted, you then have to trek all the way back to where you were initially, look around real quick, and then pick up something as simple as like a bucket or a book or
With the
something
worst
like
stamina
that.
bar in a game, mind you.
Right. So it's just like it's frustrating, but like I'm but one thing that makes me feel really positive about this game is how they only missed a few things from making it great, and they are currently working on a new game that is Compulsion. So
Yeah.
I'm very excited for their next game, because if they can put this quality type of story into a game and just make it more functional, it's going to be killer.
Yeah.
Spectacular.
Southern fantasy, whatever that really means.
I don't know what it means, but I'm excited to find out.
Yeah, Southern and fantasy. Those are
What the
Deep,
what does that mean?
those are
deep South
interesting.
fantasy was the quote. Which
Yeah.
is like, what is that? I don't know what that is.
Yeah, we getting some
Wendigo-
cornbread
like
or something.
Wendigo stuff?
We getting some cornbread. We going
It's
down
Final
south.
Fantasy set in the deep south. It's Louisiana Final Fantasy.
Yeah. Oh my god. I'm kind of afraid to find out what that even is.
All right. All right. So now we're going to move on to the next subject, which happens to be the weekly breakdown. So we just kind of talk about what's going on this week within gaming and what we've kind of heard. So I'm going to skew to you this time, Matt. You got anything on your mind?
Yeah. Okay. So I was actually going to make a video on it, but I was like, I'll just save it for the podcast. So you guys, I'm sure you guys by now have heard that Jez Corden kind of confirmed that Certain Affinity is working on Halo Infinite's Battle Royale. Which, I mean, I don't know about you guys. I mean, I think it's good for all the people who want it. I mean, I'm not a big Battle Royale fan, but I think it's obviously good for engagement.
Yeah.
I'm just kind of happy, I'm just ecstatic that it's not 343 working on that, because they're quite busy right now. They've got a lot
Fixing
to
it,
do.
completing
Yeah,
the game.
they've got plenty to do right now. They don't need to be working on a battle royale. So I mean, I don't know how you guys felt, but I was certainly relieved when I found out that it was Certain Affinity working on that and not 343. Especially since Certain Affinity's been with Halo since like Halo 2, I think, or something like that, like
Something like that.
04.
That's
But yeah,
crazy.
I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on that because I thought it was interesting. I'm kind of excited. I'll check it out. I'll certainly check it out. But I kind of want to know what you guys think about that. Does that even interest you guys?
Should I go first or you, Ham?
No, go first, Mike,
Um,
please.
Personally, like, you know, one thing I'm really happy about is the fact that they're getting outside help to do this because I loved Halo Infinite launch. I think that campaign's fantastic. Personally,
Yeah.
I think it's freaking great. I think the multiplayer is fun. It just got to fix that desync stuff because that drove me insane. But like the content is just, it's like not there, and like the
Yeah.
events are like team deathmatch, but now there's a circle you got to go fight in, and you like wait 2 months for that, and you get another armor piece for your kit. And I don't know. I just feel like we don't have co-op, we don't have
Yeah.
Forge yet, and it's just like I don't know what's going on with their upper management. But that's not the conversation we're having. I think it's great that they're getting a company from the outside that works close with them
Yeah.
to make this because 343 needs to like just full steam ahead, just get the content out there and just really finish the game. When you think about it,
Yeah.
really just finish
Yeah.
the game.
That's definitely the dream. What about you, Ham?
All
Because
right.
I don't know.
Yeah,
Oh
go
no,
ahead.
go ahead. Because I don't know if you've ever talked about if you like battle royale. So I'm interested.
No, I
Does
hate
that
battle
even
royale.
interest you?
No, I hate battle royale. I don't. I
What's your
don't
favorite
like
genre?
royale at all. Like it's just, I don't know. It just feels like a lot of time to
Oh, it is.
not really feel like I'm really upgrading or doing anything to progress or to make me feel like. I mean, the only sense you get is I win, and
Yeah,
then you do it
And
again,
that's
and
so rare.
and
it's so
it is rare,
it is.
and for me particularly, I'd probably never freaking win. I'm like
I felt that.
so like I'm just not even trying to go down that route. But is it good for Halo? Absolutely, I think so. I'm
Yes.
excited for those that are fans of like Fortnite and PUBG and Apex and stuff like that, just to have something else. And yeah, I will try it. I've tried Apex. I've tried. I haven't tried Fortnite. I actually just completely stay away from that. But I've tried PUBG as well, and they're cool concepts, but excuse me, they suck to play. To me personally, so I do my best to just dodge it. But yes, I am happy that you know there's going to be because there's 100% a crowd that want something like this because
Definitely.
Yeah,
it's one of
I might want it.
it's one of everybody's favorite heroes of all time, so
Yeah.
why not give them
I might want it.
why not give them another revenue stream? I mean, since you're doing all this, but my whole thing is like, can we get co-op and Forge? Like, I don't
yeah.
care.
That's
Like,
gonna
to be
fix a lot of
honest,
stuff.
they are working on a lot though. So good luck
Yeah.
to them. That's all I really got to
They
say.
need it.
How about
They need it.
you play as 100 elites versus one person playing as the Master Chief at his full potential? I kind of
There
want
you
that
go.
instead.
Dude, yeah, add in firefight, honestly.
Yeah,
I was gonna
firefight.
say, you know how crazy it'd be if they had like a battle royale, but they have grunts and others as well to try to disrupt and slow you down and keep you out from hiding. Because I
Like,
know, because I know a lot of issues with Warzone, especially when it first got rolled out, was people hanging out behind walls or hanging out behind a door or something like that. I think it'd be pretty cool to just make an all out warfare where you better keep moving or else you're gonna take a
like,
L.
like you're. So what that would be is kind of like Halo 5's Warzone, but battle royale, where it's
Right.
like AI and other players,
Mm. I
and
think
a
that'd be pretty
huge
cool.
map. That would be fantastic, honestly. I'd In fact, I hope that's kind of what they do. I would really like that. I would definitely play that if they do that.
Yeah, I want it
Definitely.
more than just a battle royale. I want it to be.
Yeah, and Halo has to do something special.
Yeah,
Halo's like they're kind of. I mean, you have other first person games. Mike obviously knows this. Doom and Wolfenstein kind of started it,
yeah,
but Halo on console is kind of the reason
yeah.
console FPS is where it's at. So they got to do something special to help pioneer what is otherwise starting to become a quite boring genre.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think Halo would be fine if it didn't do it, but
Yeah.
businesses, do things in trends. So I think they might be crazy to miss out on this kind of trend, especially if they're looking for funds at all.
Yes.
And what business isn't looking for funds?
100%. It works perfectly for them. All they got to do is make something that people want to play, and it's free to play. It's free to play.
Yeah,
What if it
they
was
want to sell those cosmetics.
what if it was third person Fortnite style?
I've seen people
I,
been tweeting that. I don't know what the hell they're on. I don't.
I, I honestly look if that's what people want, if that's what the majority of people want. I mean, it's not for me, but it's like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe have a third person mode in there for someone who really wants it, but
It's like a toggle.
yeah, have a toggle if you want.
I don't
Like how
think you know
PUBG
what.
does it.
Well, that's kind of the thing, though. Just to give my opinion on this is like I played a lot of games that used to do that. Third person to first person, there's actually a lot of advantages to that. You could hide behind a wall,
And
go
see
to
around
third,
it.
and then see around it, and then go back to
Yep.
first person, and you just know there's a person there. And a mode for it. They want a mode for it. I remember Modern Warfare 2 had that. Does anyone remember that god awful third person? It wasn't even good third person.
I used to like it.
You did? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
No hate, no hate, no hate, no hate.
No,
I wasn't a fan.
let the
No
hate rain.
Um,
Let it rain over Matt.
but they did it at least. It was a concept. They did it.
Yeah.
They even kind of supported it, and then
Yeah.
it kind of disappeared because the MLG scene. When something doesn't strike with the MLG scene, COD just kills it.
They get rid of it.
So I don't know. I just if they want it to be a option, cool. But if that's like the only like angle, like you could only play in third person, I would probably. I was gonna say throw my Xbox out a window. I just probably make an angry tweet and moan about it a lot.
Yeah, I wouldn't like that. I would not like that. I don't want only third person Halo. That sounds bad.
Yeah,
does.
yeah, that would be awkward. One mode
It would
of
be.
them all, just third person and everything else first person. I would like to go back through the campaign in third person, though. I think that would be fire.
That would be cool. I would like that option.
Yeah,
I
I
would
think that'd be
actually.
dope. All right, well, all right, and then Mike, did you already do yours?
No, I haven't.
Go ahead.
All right, so this is really exciting to me as a Doom fan. Really, it's kind of announcing news will come kind of a thing, but I want to like talk about the event in itself. QuakeCon, yeah, QuakeCon is back this year. It's still, I think it was even last year, but whatever. It's a digital only event. However, they said to expect a lot of announcements, and it hasn't released a game, since 2020. Doom Eternal, it got its DLCs all throughout 2020, a bit in 2021. It's gotten a few master levels, yada yada. But I really think they're going to announce their next project, and that really has me excited. I hope, and if not there, it will probably be at Microsoft's press conference.
Yeah.
And my expectations are really through the roof with them at the moment. To me personally, and I'm just gonna I won't say because if I was here to talk about my love of Doom Eternal, this podcast would go for 500 hours. To me, Doom Eternal might be the most tightest, well designed. I mean, it has its issues. How about like the tightest controlling? Like I feel like when I press a button or I move, it does it. I don't feel like I'm not worrying about the Doomslayer's what position his body is. But if I tell him to go fuck left, he immediately goes left. If I want to jump, he jumps.
Yeah.
I feel like everything I do, my input matters. I don't feel like it's delayed. It feels so good to play. It's so comfortable. Anyways, QuakeCon's back August 18th to August 20th. And I'm wondering if they're going to be announcing a Quake reboot, because they've been hiring people for that kind of apparently for sorry, as I'm trying to just get the wording. Um, what's that kind of horror Quake is, or I guess you don't say horror theme. It's kind of like Lovecraft. It's kind of like more of like Cthulhu-ish type stuff. I don't know. It's like it's
Okay.
yeah. So like they're hiring for things that fall along that art style. And they said they don't want to make another Doom Eternal. They said when we make a game, we want to do one thing and make it unique for a reason. And that has me excited because especially if Hugo Martin's working on it. That guy is a genius. That guy's great. What do you guys think?
I I think it's definitely going to be Quake. I
That would
think
be
it's
cool.
definitely going to be Quake.
That
I
would be
just don't
cool.
see. I mean, unless they do something completely new, which I wouldn't be against either. But I just feel like it makes so much sense to do Quake because you just did the remastered. Like, why'd you do the remastered if you don't plan to give us a reboot or something
Yeah.
at some point? So seems like I mean I'm hyped for it anyway because QuakeCon always has it's everything Bethesda pretty much. So it's like I'm hyped regardless.
Yeah.
But I'm got my fingers crossed for Quake.
I think it's gonna be. I think it'd be something like Quick, especially since they just randomly threw that kind of like revision of Quake up on Game Pass and stuff like that. And like I feel like when Microsoft chooses to bring back certain things, like big games like that in particular, they plan on doing a little something more with the IP than just to oh it's this is rebooted, but this is all you'll get for the rest of its time on Xbox. I feel like some of those things, including some of these games that you see being like FPS boosted and stuff like that, like I feel like there's a reason behind some of those. Some of them are just great
Yeah.
and needed an FPS boost, but there's others that they're trying to get the new crowd back into, so when they hop into the new thing they kind of know what's going on already, and that's pretty exciting.
Can I add one thing about the Quake?
Yeah.
The Quake.
One um, uh, is that they're adding PC mods to it, very famous PC mods regularly. They created a whole new horde mode for it. Like they're still making things for it. They're absolutely trying to keep the game in like some form in media talks. Because
What?
they're porting some of the most popular PC mods for it, and they're like, just the other day they released one, and they said they're gonna bring more. It's like, it's I don't know, something's going. When there's smoke, there's fire.
Yeah. I want to ask you, what do you think the odds are? Has it ever been clear who owns the IP of Hexen? Is it ZeniMax or is it Activision? Because I mean, well, regardless, if it's either of those and this deal does go through for Activision, it's like
It doesn't matter.
I'm wondering would they ever work on a Hexen reboot?
Who honestly like really even knows at this point? I'm really like,
I know Phil was really intrigued by Hexen.
yeah. He
He
even
was.
mentioned it by name. He
By
was
name.
like Hexen. Like I'm really interested in their old IPs. I can
Yep.
see id working on so many franchises. I just, from what I know from Hugo Martin, because I watch a lot of his streams, is that it's a fairly sized team, but they're very focused, and they kind of know exactly what they want to be working on. So if it could happen down like maybe 8 years later, but like I really feel like
Yeah.
right now they're helping with Redfall right now. They're helping
That's
design
true.
the shooting combat,
Yeah.
and they're now probably working on their next project. Sadly, Doom Eternal, like I said, you guys heard me say a lot of times, was supposed to hit tons of master levels, but COVID completely canceled that.
Yeah.
So I think right now it's all hands on deck with Redfall, maybe an odd patch or two to Doom Eternal, and now working on their new game, which is probably Quake.
Yeah. I hope so, man. I really hope so.
Quake's incredible.
All right, so
Great game.
my little tidbit for the week. Well, I got two of them, but one of
Oh.
them has to be that one of my favorite games of last year reached over 2 million thanks to Game Pass. Do any of you guys know what game that is?
Yeah,
I do.
I do.
Starlight
All right.
Nexus.
Yeah.
Yes. sir. Such
All
a
right.
great game. You should try it if you haven't. I know you haven't, Matt. I know you haven't given
I
enough.
haven't downloaded. I just downloaded it, so I'm gonna
I'm
try
actually
it.
gonna download it to the app right now. I'm gonna do
You
it right now.
guys need to download and play Scarlet Nexus. It takes a little bit to get used to calling people in and how to use them properly, and the story. It could be a little bit better if they had motion in the cutscenes, but if you
It,
actually are willing to listen to the story, because like the story is like comic book style,
oh, okay.
so
Okay.
like
Well, that's
it
kind of
shows
cool
a
though. I
pic,
like that.
it
Sorry.
shows a picture, and like you can have subtitles on or off or whatnot, but that's cool. What I recommend you doing once you start the game though is maybe leave it on for a little bit, but you'll definitely want to turn off the tutorials because
Okay.
they will get super annoying. And that game, I feel like, is one of those where you can kind of figure it out yourself after a few tutorials.
Yeah.
But the tutorials are within the story, so you'll have to turn them off eventually, or else it'll just drive you insane later on. But other than
Gotcha.
that, the combat is super duper dope. The animations are fantastic. The different fight styles and ways that you can go into battle seems like endless. So really cool. Really excited that that game reached over 2 million, and then excuse me. And then the second thing I wanted to bring up is I was thinking about it, and then it happened. They're coming out with an AEW game.
Really?
Really?
Yes. So it's another wrestling game. If you're not big into wrestling, no problem. But I know Bill and me enjoy some wrestling. He does not enjoy me doing submissions to him in the wrestling game, but yeah, we enjoy wrestling games. Those are super duper dope. And if you're a wrestling fan, I just thought you should know AEW is coming to the new consoles. So check that out. But shall we move forward, gentlemen, or you guys got any other news that you wanted to bust out?
No, I'm good.
I mean,
I'm looking
this is
that up.
super quick. It's
Sure,
really
go
cool
ahead.
that Game Pass is getting a family plan. I think that Glam Pass. What the heck did I just? Game Pass is getting a family plan. I thought that's pretty cool. I think that might be last week, but I thought that's pretty cool.
It's actually really, that is actually really good. I
Uh,
mean, I probably won't use it because I
yeah,
mean
me neither.
I
it's
need
just
it.
me on Game Pass. But like for people like families, big
I need it.
families, even
Yep.
small families, dude, that's got to be a lifesaver.
I hope they nail the pricing though, because I'm kind of a little,
Got to be like $20. I think more than 20 is kind of just kind of weird,
I
honestly.
honestly think it might be if it's ultimate, it's gonna be pushing 25 or 30. If it's regular, it's 20.
So
That's a
yeah,
good point.
I need that because right now me like we pay for Game Pass for me and my lady, and yeah, I know people would be like, oh, but you can just share it or whatnot. But I share my my games with somebody else, so I
Yeah.
can't have her share and him share. So we have to have two separate Game Passes to be able to be logged in. Yeah, it sucks, but I also get, a lot of games from being able to do stuff like that. So it's worth it for me. Some people might look at me funny, but whatever. My life, my money. I'll spend it how I
Exactly.
want.
You
But
know, though,
yeah.
you brought up a good point, Ham. There. Sorry, I'm gonna let you finish. Sorry about that.
No, I was done.
You brought up a good point though, because if you're gonna be doing a family plan, since you're game sharing with somebody else, will they still get your Game Pass? I know that sounds kind of like a dumb thing to say, but like, are they gonna like when you think about, let's say it's like you only can have 5 people on a family plan, do you even necessarily even need to add that person you're game sharing with? Because technically it'll be 6 then, right? Like, you know what I'm saying?
That's a
Like,
good point.
I wonder how if they're gonna like, oh, no, you can't share your Game Pass anymore. You have to add them to the family plan.
Yeah, that might be something they could crack down on, honestly, if they're
Uh,
gonna start doing a family plan.
yeah.
Oh
I
no,
I'm
on
not
I'm
sure.
not sure if you want to bring any negative PR when you're doing something like that.
yeah. Who
I feel,
knows? Yeah,
Good
but
point.
I feel like
Or-
you'll be able to still have your console other places, but there'll probably be maybe like a stiff kind of limit as to what a Game Pass family plan would look like. So I think they might have it like base at like 15 as it is, but then if you're going into a family plan, it'll be like maximum of like two or three people for $25, like two people for $25, an extra like 250 or $5 per person after that. That's how I could see it going. And then you could still share like your game thing and whatnot to somebody to another console if you want to, but you could assign who's actually using that Game Pass.
Yeah.
That's just my take of it from armchair specialist.
I gotcha. I think it's a good take. There's so many ways they can take it that there's so many ways. Like, so I guess it's a wait and see thing.
It 100% is. But we better move on to the next
yeah.
topic, which is Mike's topic for
Oh, yeah.
the very first time. We got our gaming cage match. So who's fighting tonight?
All right, this one was actually kind of tough for me because I went back and forth for like a whole week on this. I overthought this more than I think I've thought about anything in my entire life, which says a lot. So it's two of my favorite game characters. Kyle Katarn from the Jedi Knight series, also Dark Forces / Jedi Knight series, versus Starkiller from The Force Unleashed. I can't believe I almost forgot the game's name. That was horrifying. But at first, I had a very set on who would win, but I actually, after reading, watching some gameplay, better understanding the characters...
You know what? I'm going to stop you right there real quick because I don't want you to make your take first since you're the person that came up with the fight.
Good point.
I'm going to move it over to Matt to answer the way that he wants. And I want you to kind of maybe
Just
put
chill.
us in our place if necessary. But, I mean, I'm going to make it kind of hard for you to do that.
Starkiller.
Reason?
Wins that. It's because as much as I watch of Kyle Katarn, it's like I'm still, like at some point I did play the games with Starkiller. I played Force Unleashed at some point. I have some experience with that. With Kyle Katarn, I don't know anything, and I'm watching videos on him, and he looks cool. He looks really cool, but it's like, dude, you're fighting Starkiller. You're fighting Starkiller. I just feel like Starkiller wins that. He gets so powerful. He gets so powerful in those games. Like, I just don't know what you do to beat him, quite frankly. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe I'm missing something because, like, I didn't play the games with Kyle Katarn, so maybe I'm wrong. But I think it's Starkiller.
All right. Well, I'm going to go now, and I'm going to have to agree 100% with Matt. Because, I mean, for goodness sakes, his name is Starkiller.
Yes.
The dude is ridiculously OP. And you're going up against who? Uncle Katarn, the general manager of freaking Shopco? Like, I mean, that's what he said. His name sounds like he's possibly, like, working in your nearest, like, security booth or something like that. Like, Officer Katarn is here. but Starkiller, bro, like, man, no, ain't no way. And if you played those games back in the day for, I believe it was the 360.
Yeah.
Super duper dope, and you were just like breaking everything. It was to me. I remember when that game came out. And then Crackdown came out. I was like, well, Star Wars is the easy winner in this one.
Yeah.
Because this dude is
That
just demolishing everything over Crackdown.
Yeah, 100%.
Force Unleashed is a brilliant game series. 2 is a little bit worse than the first one, but they're brilliant.
All right, now you can go, Mike. Now you can go after I disrespect Katarn for you.
Well, you see, for about a week, I actually agreed with you guys, actually. Then I kind of revisited the games. I even re-downloaded them. I kind of read up a little bit. on some of the booklets I have of Katarn, and kind of looked back through his history and of who he is as a person and what he's fought and what he's done. And I actually have to go with Katarn on this because I
Okay.
realized something that Starkiller, one of his biggest issues is as a person, not even as a power thing, is he doesn't know how to understand how to really be defensive. He doesn't really know understand how to think outside the box when something happens. He's always in a fit of rage. He kind of only sees things when like I'm sounding like a dork. I don't even care. And like absolutes, he only understands the dark side of the force, and he only understands it as a weapon to kill. Um,
Yeah.
Katarn on the other hand understands how to use both sides of the force, understands what its massive pitfalls are and how much it can manipulate the human mind. Because I played Jedi Knight Dark Forces 2, Mysteries of the Sith. So that's like, believe it's on some, and then there's Jedi Knights Outcast. One of the biggest things with Katarn is in a gameplay atmosphere. If like you're just looking at the gameplay, if we're like looking at like this the game from 1990 like 8 versus whenever Force Unleashed came out, yeah, it's gonna look like Starkiller is the most powerful, but it's so complicated because Katarn had mastered how to be defensive, how to be offensive, how to use the dark side, how to use the light side, how to not let be completely taken over with rage, how to not like. And he was also used to be a stormtrooper. He was a stormtrooper. He was a soldier. He understands how to use other weapons. He
Okay.
understands tactics. He's been through hell and back. He's also the one that before Disney killed the extended universe stole the Death Star plans. He's the one that made that all possible. He was a one man operation. Well, technically, his pilot helped him get around, but really, realistically, he was a one man operation just against the entire Empire, and that was without a lightsaber at that point. And then he finds out he's force sensitive in the sequel, um, which is really cool because at first he is get hot headed. He actually gets really tempted by the dark side. It's just like a very full blown, and then he helps with the Jedi Order rebuilding it before once again Disney killed the canon. And in the end of like Force Unleashed 1, spoiler alert, can I say it?
Go ahead, man. It's
Yeah.
old now.
Uh, no matter the ending, he dies, and that doesn't mean he's a weak character or he's not even strong because that's nonsense. Strong characters die all the time, but most of it comes from his lack of ability to understand. I mean, technically, the first one, I mean, if you do the light side, it's more of a sacrifice, but he kind of puts himself in that situation. But that's kind of always been his thing, is that he doesn't really, because realistically, he was being like, at the beginning of the game for Force Unleashed. He was adopted by Vader as a youngling. He decided not to kill him after killing his master, and apparently, like from what I understand, Vader was pretty ruthless in his ways of training him. So only thing he really understands is hatred and anger. And as Star Wars shows a lot of the time, it gets you nowhere. And
Yeah.
Katarn's been through it. Like his father was killed by the Imperials, which is the reason why he left. He's had complete friends and family die. In like he's gone through like the stages of grief and growing. Uh, I just feel like Starkiller just never kind of went through those combat experiences. He's super powerful, but like so is actually Katarn. He is actually more powerful than like even most of the better Jedi's in like canon. Well, when it was canon. Um, but it is a good question because it's really hard to say because also like we're kind of comparing old gameplay to new gameplay. It's kind of really hard to imagine it almost because when you go look at Jedi Knight 2 or Dark Forces 2 technically, the swing is like and that's what it looks like and that's all you
Yeah.
see. But in Force Unleashed, you're fucking doing somersaults. You're like jumping off the walls and like but realistically, that's what he's actually doing in those games. If you put it in third person, you see him doing stuff like that. It's just way more constrained because it's an late '90s, early 2000s game.
Yeah. They just
Um,
made it look better.
they just made it look better. So but Starkiller's a freaking badass. I think it would be I just feel like Katarn has mastered this stuff so well that he's like he calmly killed the people that killed his father. He really learned after being burned so long about how to handle stuff like this, and I just feel like as much as at first I was like, oh yeah, Starkiller, he pulled a fucking pulled a Star Destroyer out of the sky.
Mhm.
He can pick up an ATST with one hand, and you get powerful enough to crush it. But at the end of the day, him being overly aggressive, especially in the evil side, if you pick the evil ending, just shows that he doesn't really understand thinking things out fully, and it always gets him in the end in both endings, really. Um, yeah, that's my take. It's my opinion.
Oh, so yeah, I mean, Mike obviously knows more about Kyle Katarn than I do. So I'm, okay. I'm going Starkiller just to go Starkiller.
Yeah, that's
But
fine.
Mike's kind of made a good point where it's like I'm actually thinking about going Kyle Katarn
Stop it.
because that whole time he was talking, I was thinking, okay, maybe Kyle Katarn, but I'm sticking firm with Starkiller.
That's
I'm
valid.
going with Mr. Rage. Mr. Just kill everything.
I'm just letting you
And
know.
not Uncle Katarn. I'm not going with Uncle Katarn.
I'm just gonna say, only one character makes it out of the original trilogy.
Fine. Fine. Fine with me. I don't care. I'll go with the crazy one.
Let's go
He's
with
a
the
great
dead
character.
one.
I love Starkiller though. He's a fantastic character, and I hope they bring him back some way.
Oh man, so we got
Yeah,
so
he's
many
just
people
awesome.
in the chat asking about Crossfire X, man. Where you at with that? Come on.
Crossfire X, don't. Too big,
Oh,
stop
it's
it.
so good. It's so
Too
dude.
big, stop that.
I think Skyrim could even. I think Bethesda could learn a thing or two about that.
Yeah.
Crossfire, dude, the
Yeah.
Blind Giant
microtransactions,
asked for it too, though.
The RPG elements in Crossfire X really are something to behold.
you role play somebody suffering,
Yeah,
playing
exactly.
your game.
That game is terrible.
You
It's so bad.
know
But
what?
it's fun to make fun of.
It is.
fun of it and
And
talking
you know
about
what? The more I make fun of it, the more I start to find fans of actually the game, and it's just
Wait, we're making fun of it?
interesting. Stop.
Yeah, right.
Stop.
We just really love the game.
But anyways,
Best game.
now we're gonna move. Oh man, talking about this. Now we're moving into takes of the week, which is gonna be interesting because there's been some pretty wild ones, for sure. Blind Giant with the Crossfire X got it.
I totally have one right now. That I'm not making up on this.
All right, so I'm actually gonna kick this one off this time because I've been letting everybody else go first. So the first one that I'm gonna bring up is wow. People need to relax with other people's takes on video games, and what I recently seen.
Yeah.
I watched a podcast where the creator of God of War was there, and it was just really, it was just the best way I could put it is unprofessional. It was it was
Yeah.
very unprofessional, and I know if I had experience being on somebody else's show, and keep in mind, this isn't the first time David Jaffe has been on a show with any of maybe for some of the panel members, but he's met some of those people before, so it had to be weird being somewhat comfortable with some of them and then walk in
Yeah.
and deal with people screaming at you for your opinion on something, whether you like it or not.
Over a video game, man.
Over a video game, and he
Over
was
a
the
video
initial creator of the video game, and to be honest, The God of War game. I mean, if you're looking at the screen right now, I got Marlo Briggs playing. Marlo Briggs is pretty much God of War after God of War has came out. You know, I mean the action is very similar. The big difference is obviously like the dialogue and story and whatnot. God of War is a lot more serious and it's actually harder. But like camera angles and these super power moves with some of these swinging weapons, and then you got your axes and stuff like that. It's very similar to God of War. So like to see somebody that created what is now known to be one of the greatest franchises ever in a video game. Like although 2018 is a whole lot different than the past than the past games. It's still, I mean, if you talk about Halo 1, 2, and 3, I mean, you jump to Halo 4, it's made by somebody totally different, but it's still Halo. You know what I'm saying? So you still gotta like put some respect on the name.
Yeah.
And I just think that it was really, really cringe to not only see him get like yelled at for thinking the way that he thought, but like people thought it was like a good job that they did that to him, like praising it. So it was just weird.
I couldn't do that to somebody, man, especially someone that brought something that a series that I love into creation to even make this possible to even have the reboot. And I've never spoken like that to anyone. Honest with you.
That would be like, to me, that would be kind of like if I berated if we got Joseph Staten on this podcast and I just berated him. It would be so uncalled for. He's responsible for helping make one of my favorite franchises of all time.
And he's so sweet, dude. He seems like the sweetest
He's just the nicest person. I mean, granted, there's a big difference between Joseph Staten and David Jaffe in terms of their attitude and composure, but it's like, dude, it's the point stands. It's like they did something. They're responsible for something that means a lot to you, and you're just berating him.
Yeah.
It's not okay. And it's definitely not okay that, like Ham said, act like that was a massive, like that wasn't embarrassing.
Yeah.
Not only was it not embarrassing, but it was a massive W or something. Like you're taking a victory lap for embarrassing yourself like that. That's uncomfortable. It made me uncomfortable listening to it. I watched like the 30-second clip. It's just uncomfortable to listen to. It's really uncomfortable to listen to.
I'll watch the first. Oh, go ahead.
I didn't know that David Jaffe was in the thing. I thought that was just this guy going off on him, like on something he said, but it was like indirect response to David Jaffe right there, on their podcast, and he's disrespecting him like that. I'm like, you have to be out of your mind. Yeah,
like he also like muted him apparently, so he couldn't even reply. Like that is, I don't know, man. Like, that's the only probably sense of power they're gonna have ever in that situation. I don't know. It's just imagine first of all, inviting somebody on to your podcast, being like, yeah, come on, let's talk about this. Berate them in such a way, and then just mute them for they can't even reply, and so they don't even deserve the respect for making the game of the original game. It's like
yeah.
How old are you?
I don't know. Like, I didn't see the clip. I'm certainly not going to go watch that podcast. But I did not see what happened afterwards. I didn't see how Jaffe handled it. But I'm not seeing clips of how he handled it. So he must have handled it much better than I ever would have thought. Because otherwise, I would have imagined we would have seen clips of him just going off on him. And we have.
Oh, yeah. So he didn't have any choice other than to do his best to keep it civil because the space he was in was clearly not, and it sucks because that is kind of a similar feeling that a lot of people are starting to get when going on, and it's not even just that podcast. There's many other podcast spaces and stuff like that where no one's really talking about anything than how they personally got offended. And
Yep.
no one's making any really, no one's really making any progress towards anything particular. They're just talking about the way they feel and how they felt hurt. And like,
Yeah.
it's like, you know, like when we're talking about video games and whatnot, sure, you can have your take and whatnot, but that's what it is. It's a take.
Yeah.
That's
doesn't hurt
literally
you.
all it is. And he tried to say, like, in his podcast, like yo, like I said it doesn't look like I said it's more of the same. I didn't say it was a bad game, was his thing. And he said that, but he also kind of countered, he kind of threw himself under the bus saying that I would feel a little disrespected if somebody did say that my game felt the same. But at the same time, he then replied saying, but at the same time, it's not my business to care what they think. I'm making a game.
Exactly.
Which is the reality for, you know, developers. It's like you can't listen to all that exterior stuff because it doesn't matter. You're in the middle of production, you're putting together a game. There's going to be people that don't like it no matter how great the game is. So for him, so what I'm trying to say is anybody deserves to make a take on a game, whether you agree with it or not, is kind of your own prerogative.
Yeah.
And if you want to talk about it, if you want to talk and ask a person why they think like that, then at least keep it civil. I mean, this dude, like if anybody's seen this like 46-second clip, I mean, it was a 40-second clip. I watched like the first half of the whole show, and I started to hear how it builded up, and it was kind of like it just got a little worse, and then it calmed down a little bit, then got a little worse, and then calmed down, and then got really bad. But the 40-second clip particularly is so bad of him just getting screamed at. It blew my mind that somebody would invite somebody onto a show to do that to them.
It's like if you've ever been in Walmart and a kid is throwing a tantrum. That's what it's like. And then it's like, okay, kids throw tantrums, whatever. But Grant, it's not a kid. You're not a kid, dude. You're a grown adult. And the fact that afterwards you're like, this is I'm so proud of this guy for speaking truth. It's like that's not a truth. That's just a really fucking loud opinion. That's a really loud opinion.
That didn't even actually really give a counterpoint, just other than
just
screaming. You're wrong.
Just screaming, and it's like nobody at Sony Santa Monica. I can guarantee. I don't know anyone there. Nobody at Sony Santa Monica. Yeah, no one at Sony Santa Monica saw that and said, "Thanks for defending us like that."
Yeah.
No one saw that and said
they got embarrassed.
They got embarrassed for you. They're like, dude, what are you doing?
Right?
It's silly. I just don't agree with stuff like that. It makes the whole podcast looks bad. I don't even know what podcast that was on. I just saw the clip. It just makes it all look bad.
All right, well,
just
we better
kind to people.
We better move on from that one.
That's my rule about life. Just be kind to people.
Yeah.
I mean, like the thing you're disagreeing on, it's not even anything important. It's literally a video game.
Yep.
It's literally something that you'll play, and then you go play something else, and it's a video game.
Just have fun. Just enjoy it.
Oh man, yeah. Let's get out of that topic because it's just.
I got one.
Yeah.
It's angry, and I feel like it's giving us the opportunity to kind of emit that kind of energy, and I don't want to do that right now. Let's go with Mike for his take of the week.
All right.
The PS Vita is freaking incredible. One of the best handhelds ever made. It's not.
Oh, it is.
It is absolutely. I don't know how fiery of a take that is, but I started playing it again recently.
This is a personal take.
Oh yeah, does that count?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. It counts.
I love this thing. It has a great PSP and PS1 emulator, and to the point where you can actually remap these buttons to the right analog stick. I think this system deserved so much more love. It deserved so much more. Like it didn't. It came out like it has an OLED screen, dude. This thing came out in
Yeah.
2013. It has an OLED
Yep.
screen, or 2012. I don't remember which year. I was actually one of the first adopted. This I don't. This isn't my original Vita. My original Vita is somewhere else. But like yeah, I love it so much. I literally bought two. I don't really understand why I did, but I did. Don't know what the hell's wrong with me. Anyways,
I
but I think
100% agree with that.
like one thing I think what kind of bit Sony. I think what they shouldn't have done is don't focus on any of this. This was bad. I hated this. I hated going to the back of my game and like having to
On the
swipe
touchpad?
yeah, on the back. I hated it.
Oh,
That should
yeah.
have been gone. It shouldn't have had a webcam at all.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm a little bit debative on the even it needing a like a touch screen. A part of me is like, well, everything at the time had a touch screen. And I'm like, I
Yeah.
agree, but I don't know. I think they should at least, at the very least, remove the back tech, the camera, maybe some of the gyro stuff. I don't know. I feel like they made it too pricey. Somehow they made it too pricey, even though it's literally that it was a powerhouse, dude. Killzone Mercenary on this thing is one
Looks
of the
amazing.
like, dude. It even rivaled certain PS3 games at the time. Like,
Yeah.
it it's incredible. And the emulator in it is fantastic. Like I just think it's a genuinely fantastic handheld. Deserves so much love and it deserved another chance.
I think you're 100% right. That, like, if I had a choice now between, like, if someone offered me a PS Vita and a trade for my Switch, I'd trade my Switch all day, every day.
I
All
actually
day,
Wow,
every
that's
day
a
for that.
take.
I actually might honestly because
Because it's like it's not even debatable. The PS Vita, I mean, outside of the fact that they didn't support it properly,
breaks my heart.
was just so good. The games on there were phenomenal.
That's why I mean Blind Giant was talking earlier, and he has said I seen greatness when Ghost of Tsushima was being shown, and I'm trying to convince Matt that all we
Yeah.
need to show for video clips is just PlayStation greatness instead of anything
I agree.
Xbox.
Yeah, we should
Not
we
just
should just
PlayStation.
show
Sorry, go
we
on.
should show The Last of Us, all the cutscenes from The Last of Us Part 2. We should just get The Last of Us Part 2 movie
I
and
just
just
want the
play it
part
on
where
the
Noel, no, where Joel gets his head bashed in over and over. That's all I want
There
to
we
see.
go. There we go.
Just over and over and
Perfect
over.
content.
And Ellie crying. That's all I want to see.
For absolutely heartbreaking, lovely content.
Exactly.
Love it.
Oh man, yeah. Obviously, I'm just kidding for those that are watching this for the first time.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I like my mixture of whatever I'm playing, whether it be PlayStation or Xbox.
Same.
Right here, if you're checking this out, this is me disrespecting the hell out of Eddie Guerrero as I take his car to the ring and I go to fight Rey Mysterio. Oh my goodness, this whole scene is just.
sorry.
I was showing it to Matt and some of like the interactions that you have. So disrespectful. If you like old SmackDown games and No Mercy and WrestleMania and stuff like that, this game is a good chunk of that with an extra dash of disrespect, and I freaking love it. I freaking
Yeah,
love
some
it.
of that stuff is super disrespectful. And it's hilarious.
Well, I mean, it is I mean, wrestling is wild. It's out of pocket,
Oh, yeah.
and I remember watching it when I was young. Like my jaw was always dropping, but for somehow this wrestling game gave me that feeling of rewatching a show. Like I was telling Matt, I was like, man, I feel like that. I feel like those people in the South Park audience when they were watching WTF with the wrestling episode in South Park, where I was like, oh,
Oh, yeah.
man, he took his job. Oh my God, he took a dirt.
Oh,
Like it totally gives you that like shock and awe feeling. I love that game. But anyways, last but not least, we got Matt for the take of the week. What you got for us, bro?
I think this president of Square Enix, I forget his name. I have to find it real quick. But the president of Square Enix said something along the lines of, if Japanese game developers imitate Western games, they will not be able to produce good ones. In fact, I'm looking. Okay, in fact, I'm looking at it right now. That is the exact quote. So Square Enix president Yosuke Matsuda believes that if Japanese game developers imitate Western games, they will not be able to produce good ones, which I thought was hysterical, considering anything and everything that Square Enix has put out in the last like year and a half is a Western game.
Mm.
Like they have not made any. I mean, God, I don't know what Babylon's Fall is. I don't know if Babylon's Fall is a
Bad.
Western game or not. That's
what
that's
it
a
is.
The kind of game it is, it's just bad.
yeah. It's just a bad game. But it's like it's just so ironic coming from Square Enix. Like the amount of effort they put into absolutely nothing, and just they want so much respect, and they don't respect their developers at all, especially on the Western side. I don't know about the Japanese developers, but their Western developers, it's like they treat them like just dirty dogs.
Can I say something
They
super
just
quick just to agree with
yeah
that? They threw
yeah
Crystal Dynamics under the bus so hard.
under the bus.
Like, dude, not even just under the bus. They shot him in the kneecaps and then threw him under there. It was like
Exactly.
it's like you told them to make a live service game. It's like I don't know. They're just so I don't know. Something's up with them. So rude.
Within months of that, they threw People Could Fly under the bus.
Yeah.
Yep.
Remember
Yeah.
that? Like, oh my God.
What did they make for
The-
Square
well,
Enix?
well,
Outriders.
that was Outriders, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Outriders.
Actually,
And
I
they
kinda
also threw they sort of threw Eidos under the bus when they were like, yeah, Guardians of the Galaxy didn't sell well. It's
Right.
like you didn't market it. You're the
Yeah.
publisher. You're supposed to market the game. Every time you marketed that game, it looked horrible.
Yeah.
People had
Seriously.
people had to play it to find out, oh, it's actually good.
Yeah.
People were surprised that it was good because of the way you marketed it.
Yep.
It's like that's on you. Like you guys need to figure that out
Work.
because, like, exactly, do your job. That's all you
Yeah.
need to do. Just do the thing you're supposed to do. That's it.
Yeah, I was actually talking about this with Loke on Bullsitting on my other channel, and he was asking me about the Oddworld game and how that, I guess, like sold below standards. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah, that game is old. Like the style of that game is old, yes, but but I don't think some of these publishers understand how much marketing
They
matters
don't.
properly. Like they market a game, but they don't. I feel like they have no idea what audience they're ever marketing their games for. I've seen several indie developers marketing games to where they're literally showing the gameplay in some crazy parts of it for just like 30 seconds. They don't say anything about, who the main character is or give you all this long extra story that you don't really care to know. They just show you the gameplay and then they ask you something like, would you like this in your game? And everyone's like, hell yeah, actually. Or would you like this on Game Pass? Would you like this on PlayStation 5? Like that,
Yeah.
like that's the kind of stuff you need to engage with your.
Overcharged.
You
Is
need
it
to
hyper?
engage with your community instead of just throwing something out and saying, "Well, I hope you like the clip that we just gave you."
Yep.
Like have a team engage with the community and make sure that what you're calling a finished product is what they kind of anticipate or expect to see. Unless you are making a game that you know is going to be a showstopper, kind of like what we're seeing with Starfield. Like it feels like they know what they got, so they kind of earned themselves the right to be able to be really quiet and deliver a game
Yeah.
without really saying much about it. Because they already have a following like that. But look at Scarlet Nexus. Remember that game before it even came out? The demo came out. The dude that made the head guy of the game was on Twitter all the time talking about the game, showing different pictures of it, telling you what to expect within the lore of the game. I mean, you don't have to go the Scarlet route. You don't have to go some of these indie routes. But what I'm saying is that they're so engaged with the community and what's going on that it makes you want to play it. And now look at these games that we're talking about, you know,
Yeah.
like Scarlet Nexus. It's crushing it. It's doing a great job for the type of game that it is.
Seriously, good for them,
Yeah.
man.
There's
Like,
that,
seriously.
and there's that game. I think you were alluding to it actually, Ham. The Hypercharge game.
Is that what
The
you're
one
talking
with
about?
Is that
the
that
one
like
with the action.
supermarket looking one?
Yeah, the one with the action figures. Dude,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
can go to their Twitter. Their
I'm gonna look
marketing
right now, look at their
is
like retweets and interactions and stuff right
yeah,
now.
they're
Actually,
dude 25K likes on April 9th. Their tweet. All they had to do was say, "This is our indie game, Hypercharge. Do you want to become an action figure with your squad on the Xbox Series S?" 25K people like that. It's like that's all I see of them. I see them
like,
all the time on my
like,
timeline.
oh my god, I'm just looking at all these tweets and like Xbox. Yeah, they get almost 1,000 retweets on anytime they mention Xbox. If I can find the one where they originally mentioned Game Pass, the amount of like retweets and interaction that got was insane. Like it blew up. If I gotta try to see if I can find it. I'm gonna see if I can try and find it.
Like
'Cause I'm interested.
it's stuff like that. That didn't cost them. It didn't cost them money to tweet that. It's just a thing of like we're trying to engage with people so they can see our game. And it's like you've got a company like Square Enix, Rockstar. You've got huge companies, even Microsoft is guilty of this, Sony's guilty of it, that just don't know how to market things. They're just completely lost. Meanwhile, you've got some dude behind a desk for an indie company is like, let me just tweet a video of our game and ask
Gameplay.
if people like it. And it gets thousands, tens of thousands of likes and retweets and interaction and engagement. It's like you would
All
think,
they did was ask a question. All they did was ask a question.
Yeah.
exactly. You would think that a big company would be all over that. All over it. But
People love
apparently
the
not.
social media interaction.
People
huge.
love it.
It's like people like love to say, "Oh, it's corny, it's cringy, it's corporation," but people love it because it makes you kind of feel more connected with the product.
Exactly.
And I totally
It's-
get it. I get
It's
it.
like at the after once you like when they put that video out there, they don't have to do anything else. They just put the video out there and people market it for you just by interacting with that tweet. That like you don't pay anybody anything. You just say, "Here's a video. Do you like it?" And people interact with it, and that's your marketing.
Yep.
That's all it takes. But
Yeah, the most they paid is maybe a couple $100 to promote the tweet.
exactly, that's about it.
And
I don't even know if that's all you need to promote.
yeah,
Oh,
you
I
don't
see
even
what you're saying, sorry.
you,
I get what
you,
you're saying.
you don't always even have to do that. Once you're big enough to like a Square Enix, you don't have to pay Twitter
You don't pay
to promote
dime.
your tweet. You just
Yeah.
post.
Post.
You just hit
post.
you just hit the go button.
Also
And
make
it's-
games that aren't meant to completely take advantage of people.
That's
you know?
another thing because Babylon's Fall is apparently just a giant money pit,
And
which is
sorry, go on. Sorry about that.
no. I'm just it's disappointing. That's all I was gonna say.
They also want them to start making blockchain games or play to earn blockchain. I don't even understand. It's like it's
No,
bad over there right now.
no. And it's the same thing. We talked about it a little bit last week when I brought it up about Ubisoft. It's the same thing. They just there's a lot of companies. There's a lot of companies that are just really removed from like what people want. They're out of touch.
Like
They're out of touch.
Ubisoft.
I mean, I'm looking
Ubisoft.
at the chat right now, and I mean, this game that we're talking about with the action figures and whatnot. I mean, like you said, it's an indie game, but like we all three know about it. There's people in the chat that know about it. Like that's how much reach a simple question about a game's improvement or availability. That's just how important it is. Not like nothing makes me more angry than when I'd go on to Xbox Game Pass or to whatever and they're marketing a game and then I'm like, oh cool, the thumbnail looks pretty cool, so I click on the thumbnail and then I hit the up button so I can see the preview of the game. I sit there and I'll watch however long the preview is, 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And the whole preview is just telling me the lore or story of the game, and I don't see not
Yeah.
a thing about the game. I don't see
Yeah.
anything like other than the info. I don't see any gameplay. That's what I'm looking for when I look at that stuff. I'm looking for like gameplay. What's it going to look like when I'm in the game? I don't want to download it to find out. And that's exactly what we had to do with Marvel's Guardian of the Galaxy. We had to download it or pay for it to really get a good idea, because even at what was it, E3 or the summer showcase, that they showed
Yeah.
that game and it still didn't look intriguing.
Yeah. It, like, I don't know. I just don't know what's going on at Square Enix where they're like, it seems like this whole thing of like it's everyone's fault but ours. And it's like it's not. It's your fault. You're the ones publishing these games. There's devs that are working hard to make them. Make the thing that you're telling them to publish.
Be
And
a
it's
leader,
like,
not a boss.
exactly. It's like, dude, if you would have just let Crystal Dynamics make a single player Avengers game, would have been fantastic.
It would.
Because the first part of Avengers was fantastic. It's only bad once you get to the part where they start asking you for money and you play with friends and shit. Like after that, it's terrible. But up to that point, the single player game is fantastic.
I bet they could have even made the co-op better if they didn't have to worry about selling things too. I know they could have. Like, you know,
Dude,
sorry.
Crystal Dynamics knows how to make a single player game. They've proven it. But you told them to make a service game, so you got a terrible service game. Because that's what you get.
Well, we better go. It is what it is. You're very correct about that. But let's move on to the next subject, which, Matt, you are hosting this one. It is putting two games together, what we call the game smush.
Okay.
What you got?
So I was thinking Just Cause 4 mixed with Sunset Overdrive. And what I mean by that specifically is the destruction, like the level of destruction of Just Cause 4 in the city of Sunset Overdrive, the setting of Sunset Overdrive. Because I don't know what you would really do if you were to put Sunset Overdrive in Just Cause, but I know having destructible buildings in Sunset City with like the level of explosions and like detail to physics and stuff that's in Just Cause would probably be like one of my favorite games. I would play that probably nonstop. And it's important that it has to have the humor of Sunset Overdrive. Has to have the humor of Sunset Overdrive. But if they could make a game like that, that would be one of my favorite games. Easy. I mean, Sunset Overdrive by itself is just fantastic. Just Cause by itself, it's fun for a while, but it's like the story, there's really no interesting story. But if you just put them together, that would be a banger of a game, in my opinion.
I think they just personally got to, copy Crossfire X to make a great game, personally.
That's true. Honestly, we could just start mixing every game with Crossfire X.
Just give them all to that developer. Who even made that game? I gotta ask real quick. Who even made Crossfire X? Happy Smile Studio? It's something that's...
Smilegate and Remedy did the story. Smilegate had the rest of everything.
I had to say that.
Yeah. Dude, let's mix... I want... Yeah, Skyrim with Crossfire next week. That's what I'm talking about.
I want to see Crossfire X mixed with CS:GO. Let's go.
That's just
Crossfire.
CS:GO.
Yeah, bad CS:GO.
That's just a much worse CS:GO, honestly.
Yeah. Oh man, that's hilarious. All right. So I personally think that it would be cool to kind of switch it around and have it the other way around, just because I think it'd be hella dope to have that grinding aspect in Just Cause, as well as like it'd be so cool to use that grapple to pull yourself, and you're flying, and then you go under canopy, and then you land and grind. Like, I'm all about fast movement and and traversal and whatnot. So I think that'd be pretty cool. I would like there to be more action and shooting. like there is in like there is in Sunset Overdrive, because you're like constantly shooting in that game and boom boom boom
Oh,
and
yeah.
moving directions and stuff like that. So if I could get like the movement with the grinding, but have all of the other craziness of like a tornado and kind of an
Oh,
open
I forgot
world.
about tornadoes.
Yeah, yeah. Let's add the environment in there as well. So like that would be really cool to be in Sunset over or like Sunset Cause
Sunset Cause.
3. I don't know.
There we go. Just Sunset 5.
Just
Oh wait, I got
Sunset
it. Can I
5.
say this comment real quick? I just saw.
Yeah.
Can I address it? Blind Giant says Crossfire X mixed with Bug Snacks.
Game of the year.
Hey,
Oh,
Game
man.
of the year.
I think
I like it.
I
That's
think
a banger.
Starfield is in trouble.
That's like a game that comes along once in a generation, if you're lucky.
If you're lucky.
Blind
you're
Giant
lucky.
with the genius thoughts.
That's gonna be a Game Pass banger, by the way.
Exactly. That's gonna be a 99 on Metacritic.
And it's day one in my heart.
Should I give my take on having that kind of game?
Yeah.
Or-
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I'm still getting used to things. So I'm gonna be honest.
All right.
Cat just said something weird. I've never played Sunset Overdrive.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Play that.
Yeah, I've seen lots of gameplay. I watched actually like about like a 2 or 3 hours worth of a gameplay playthrough, and then I was like, one day I actually want to play this, so I stopped watching.
You
And it's on Game Pass, so I might as well.
Yeah.
So Game Pass plug. Anyways,
I think it's only on PC though.
Nope, it's on.
Is it on console too?
I think it's on console.
I've seen it on
should
console.
be.
I'm pretty sure. It is. I've
definitely
seen it.
be there.
Either
I know.
way,
I'll have
I
it
can
through
get
Game-
it.
No,
I'll
Just
have it
Cause.
through
I
Game
think
Pass.
isn't Just Cause just on PC?
No,
Or
it's
is that
not.
on
No, it's
console as well?
It's
Man,
on console.
man, I need to fix
Do
it
your
up.
research. I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
I'm just
right?
kidding. The Game Pass situation's so confusing. Things are there and they're not there elsewhere. It's kind of confusing. But sorry to say, I actually agree with Matt on his like idea personally. Because like I played Just Cause 2, and like everything about it, like the gameplay, other than the shooting being pretty floaty, I found in Just Cause 2, because the only Just Cause I played was 2.
Okay.
So, and that game was huge. I don't know actually nowadays how huge that is. And if you see me looking down, I'm only looking at chat because my computer's so slow I can't have multiple things up or everything crashes. So
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that'd be really cool. I think the humor, like Just Cause tried to have like humor, and like
It did.
it tried, yeah, and it's like I don't know. I just didn't. I wasn't really connected with it. But everything I've seen from Sunset Overdrive just has charming characters, really nice art style. But that's Insomniac. Insomniac
Exactly.
is a great studio. So
They're an amazing studio. Hell yeah.
so got that little hell yeah in there. But yeah, I think that's really cool. I think that's really cool. I don't know. It's just like, I played so little of Just Cause, and I haven't even played Sunset Overdrive. I don't think I have much of a really huge opinion to throw in.
Fair enough.
Well, I would say definitely check out Sunset Overdrive. Just Cause 4 is what it is. I mean, if that interests you, then hey, but Sunset Overdrive's definitely worth it.
Are any of them boosted by chance?
Sunset Overdrive is not, and I know Just Cause runs like, I mean, this isn't going to sell to you, runs like a mess on consoles. Even like the 30 FPS, it's a locked 30 FPS, but the way the engine is, it just feels.
Yeah, I've heard that on PC side of things, but I didn't know it was like the console.
Like even on my PC, I've noticed some stutters, and my PC shouldn't be having an issue with that game at all.
Quick story. I bought Just Cause 3 for my computer a long time ago, and it's like you should absolutely be able to run this to like on high settings. Like the opening cutscene was stuttering like how I refunded it like immediately. I'm like, I'm not dealing with this.
Yeah, that's a good call.
I was like, I'm good.
Dude, I remember being disappointed by Just Cause 3, and then I didn't learn my lesson and pre-ordered Just Cause 4. It is what it is.
Oh man, I've played some Just Cause 4 and some Sunset Overdrive. I gave them both about the same amount of time, about 3 hours apiece.
Just kidding.
Sunset Overdrive was pretty fun. I don't remember why I stopped playing that game. Just Cause I stopped playing because I just anytime I turned on that game, I found myself just not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So so I ended up just being like, all right, well, this game is fun, but I'm playing it like GTA Online, so I'm just gonna stop.
It's a chaos simulator. With that just happens to have a story that you may or may not play.
Right. But I played it on
Yeah.
PC and it looked fantastic. So if you got a
Oh,
PC
it looks great.
and you're looking to play Just Cause, or I don't know if anyone's looking to play Just Cause, but if you're looking for something fun to play with a lot of action, there you go, and it looks fantastic. So I'd recommend trying it out if you have it at least. Hell, it's on Game Pass. Why not?
Yeah.
But any other takes for that one before we move on to our last one?
I think I'm good.
All right, cool. So now we're running into the games that are forever over or underrated. I want to go to our new panel member first, and I want to hear what game you got.
One of probably my underrated, without a shadow of doubt, would be the Saboteur, made by Pandemic Studios. Saboteur, imagine an open world Nazi occupied Paris and you're playing part of the resistance. Um, with the parkour system of Assassin's Creed. And
I
stealth.
think I've seen this game.
It is one of my favorite. It has its issues, but it's one of my favorite games. With a gorgeous art style. When you go to a part that's Nazi occupied, it's the game's black and white, other than the red armbands and the swastikas and the blood to like make you like really realize how dark and depressing everything is. You'll go into occupied areas and they're lining up people to shoot them or to hang them, and as you liberate them, right, color comes back to the map. When you liberate an area, it becomes beautiful. It comes filled with color. And I think the story is awesome. Sean Devlin's a freaking awesome character. I honestly think that game's really underrated. The gameplay's really fun. It's such a shame that EA killed Pandemic. It is such a shame. Such a shame.
What else did Pandemic make?
Mercenaries, the old Battlefront games.
Mercenaries is freaking awesome.
Okay. Yeah, it was.
I actually have that on my Xbox, and I've never played the original Mercenary games.
I played Mercenary 2 a lot. I didn't only play a little bit of 1.
I'm gonna have to check that out. But yeah, I've definitely seen this game before, and it does look interesting.
Yeah, it's not backwards compatible. Actually, it's on PC Game Pass. EA, because of EA Play. It's on EA Play.
That's probably where I've seen it, honestly.
And if you have literally, the game is so old now, probably a baked potato can run it. Actually, it's a pretty game though. But seriously, check it out. So good. It is. The story is actually really entertaining. Like, it's just a good game. It's just really fun. I just like. It did a good job of like making you feel like this is to say, I'm not gonna spoil anything. This is to say super quick because I know we got like at the very beginning of the game something really awful happens and then the world just turns black and white very slowly and but it's very sudden and it's like a very like horrifying kind of disturbing moment and even though you already know you're supposed to hate Nazis right now you're like fuck these guys, they need to die. So it's a really great game if you have a decent gaming computer, or
it's not on PC Game Pass. Oh wait, yeah, it is. Okay, never mind. Yeah. I'm sorry.
So if you do have it, I really recommend at least checking it out. It's not a hard game. You eat bullets in that game. It's just a fun game, which is all that matters. And you can go to strip club. It's like a French broth. I mean, like if that's your thing, I'm not going to tell you how to live. But that game, oh my god, I could go on with that forever. That's my underrated game.
All
right, Matt.
I'm going for the first time ever overrated, and I'm going Player Unknown's Battlegrounds. PUBG. That game is, again, it's wildly overrated to me. I feel like it's at best, at the absolute best, at its most fun, it is a below average battle royale. At its very, very best. At its worst, it's an unoptimized pile of garbage that needs to be stop being getting supported, quite honestly.
I've been
And
told it's
they
like
need
Doom
to.
Eternal.
Oh, from Josh.
Josh, he loved PUBG.
Yeah,
Sorry.
he's like Doom Eternal, love PUBG. But yeah, dude, like that game. I remember when it came out on Xbox originally, and I was like, me and my brother played it. We got really like addicted to it because it was like just something new to play. But then, as soon as Apex came out, we played Apex, and I don't think we ever touched PUBG again. I think I played it once on the Series X just to see it running at 60 FPS. But it's like as soon as any other competition that I care about, I mean, that isn't Fortnite, is there, then that game is just in the garbage for me. I think it runs terribly. They haven't fixed it, and I don't know, however long it's been out since like what 2017 on consoles, they haven't fixed it outside of upping the frame rate. It's like there's still bugs, still glitches. You can still fall through the map. Last time I played it, I mean, it's just a horribly made game. And the dude who runs the company is also kind of, I'm not gonna, whatever. But yeah, bad game. Bad game.
And you told me, just to be clear, that the only reason it runs at 60 FPS is just through the grunt of the hardware. Now
Yeah.
they didn't do anything. It's just the fact and it
Yeah.
still has issues, from what I know.
Yeah,
And it still
they
has issues.
didn't optimize it at all. The only reason it's hitting 60 FPS is because the Series X and the PS5 it's just that powerful.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that would definitely like they didn't optimize it for anything. And it's the same on PC. Like the only reason that game would hit 60 on my computer is just because my computer is that powerful. Otherwise, it would not be hitting 60.
Yeah.
They put no effort in that game, and it shows.
Matt is just laying it on thick for PUBG. Not a fan.
Not at
Not
all.
a fan. All right. So I guess my overrated game would be Skyrim. Okay, chill. Okay, chill. Okay, chill. I'm
right.
just kidding.
All right.
And then, but underrated has to be Crossfire, though, right?
Oh my
yes.
god.
I'm just
agree.
Absolutely.
just pissing that
Cam's
off
trying to
left
give
and
me
right.
a heart attack. Matt's dying over there.
I just see all the faces that Matt's making, and it's honestly making me smile. Extremely big, as you can see. I'm all smiles right now, but
Absolutely.
but on a serious note, like a game that I find to be overrated to me, and I'm gonna give my reason after I say it, but it's gonna be NBA 2K.
That's fair.
And
I have
and
no connections to that game, so
Sure.
right away.
so like the reason I find that game overrated is because who's it competing with?
Exactly.
Like I don't like it when, especially a sports game, and we can go down the list if we want. I mean, FIFA, Madden, 2K, like NBA 2K, like all these games have no competition, and all these games are not that insane. They look nice, but
Yeah.
there isn't a whole lot being done year by year when they make these games. The one thing I do give props for 2K as a developer and whatnot, what I give them props for is this new WWE game. This game is dope, right? But see, the difference is they had to stop for a whole year because 2020 was the last WWE game before 2022. And 2020 was so bad that they went on ahead and said, you know what, we're skipping a year and we're going to make a good game. and I applaud them for that. And now we're hearing Call of Duty's doing the same thing.
Thank
After
God.
after they drop Modern Warfare 2 this year, they're gonna take a year off. And
Yes.
it sounds like a long time for certain, consumers, especially the ones that buy these games year in and year out. But tell me, like, give me 10 solid differences by the last year edition and this year edition. And I bet that most people would really struggle to find 10 differences that really
Yeah, you're not
improve
gonna
the
find
game.
10.
Yeah, you can't say like different character on the case. You can't like
Yeah, we
There's
can't say a
not
new
10
roster.
differences.
It's just a new roster.
If you
really.
use new roster, I know that you're running out of things to say.
The stories are apparently awful, right? Isn't it like they try to make it super serious? You guys would know better than me.
So I'll give
the
it a
story is terrible in 2K. I mean, I don't know what it is in 2K22, but the last one I played, it was like I was watching Degrassi, but it was the NBA.
So the story in Madden seemed okay. Okay.
Yeah.
But in comparison to no story and just freedom of what you wanted to do in the previous Maddens makes the new Maddens look old.
Yeah.
It just
I agree with that.
looks like they gave it one of those Xbox backwards compatibilities and it just looks amazing, but it has no content. And that's kind of what sports games feel like to me right now. Like that they're just so one-dimensional and not very innovative. The one innovative thing that I thought 2K did, which they've had for quite some time now, is have like the basketball court where it's like a street game. I thought
Yeah,
that was
okay.
cool. But I wish they made it more arcade.
No, yeah.
So it felt like an NBA Street or something like that instead of a real basketball game just on concrete.
Yeah.
I feel bad
That
for
would be
sport
nice.
games fans, man. They're like, can I just to say super quick, back in the mid 2000s, before like every right was bought out by some company, you had crazy genres for every sport. Like there was the bigs for baseball and like, which was fantastic by the way.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just you guys are just kind of like, what are you gonna do? Like he's like, yeah, you might not buy it, but just some kid that's like 8 is getting it for Christmas, and there's like a trillion of them that's gonna happen with. It's
Exactly.
it's just a vicious cycle that I don't even know when that's gonna stop.
I'm going to piggyback
like-
on what you just said, Mike, just real quick, and then I'll let you go, Matt. I'm sorry. But I'm going to piggyback on what you just said, Mike. You're not even huge into sports, are you?
No,
Exactly. Back in the day, you had people that didn't care about sports playing sports games because they
Was
were
it-
so cool. They were so different. They were
what was
so
that PS2
outside.
basketball game? Just to say, because I think you
NBA
would know
Street.
about it.
They
Was
had
it the Street
NBA
one?
Street. They
That was
had
fantastic. I
They had
played that all
NBA
the time.
Jam. They had And One. There was so many different, and that's what I that goes back to my first statement. No competition. They had no competition. Back in that day, we had Live, we had 2K, we had NBA Street, we had And One, and I believe, and we had NBA Ballers as well. Like we had a slew of different basketball games played in different ways, and it made me appreciate a 2K because it felt more simulation. But when I didn't feel like doing that, I could go over to NBA Street and just do the most insane dunk and just cross over.
Flames are flying everywhere.
Yeah,
Yep.
like
It's cool.
it was
cool.
fun, and they had the same thing with football and blitz, and you could play
NFL
2K to get
Street.
your simulation, or you could do some crazy stuff in Madden where you can create your own team and create. Yeah, I mean you could literally charge or set the charges for how much you want to charge at concessions for a hot dog. In
I
Madden,
remember doing that.
you can't do anything like that anymore. Everything's super duper serious and
Yeah.
and and the parts that are really serious that you would think would be in the game because it feels like they're taking it so serious are completely missing in the game, but you go 10 years back and it was in there.
Yeah.
So it just doesn't make any sense. It's so inconsistent. And that's why 2K is my most overrated game this episode.
That I'd have
Very
to
well
agree
said.
with that.
Completely agree.
2K, like they've stepped it up a little bit in the past 2 years, but it's like it's not enough to justify. First of all, it's not enough to justify $70.
Yeah.
Their asking price. It's just not okay. I firmly believe that all sports games should be.
I already got
free-to-play
my
at this
next
point.
week overrated game, and I'm ready to piss Mike off. So hopefully you guys are ready
my
to
God.
come back
Oh
for
my
next
God.
week's episode of The Game Drain at 8 p.m. Eastern on Sundays.
I'm just letting you know. If it's Doom Eternal, I'm literally coming to your house. I'm just kidding. Like, you won't be seen again, bud.
All right,
out of my chair. Sorry.
But let's do something we didn't do at the beginning of the show. I want Mike to go on ahead and tell everybody where they can find you, and then Matt, and then I'll close it out.
Well, if you want to find me anywhere on social media, my Twitter is Hard Days Mike. Hard Days Mike, and yeah, that's really the only social presence I got. That and Twitch, which is the same name. Yeah, that's where you can find me.
Simple,
Perfect.
quick, and easy.
Perfect. And you can check me out at Matt Likes Games on Twitter and on YouTube, Matt Likes Games. I just put out my Elden Ring review, so if that interests you, then go ahead and check that out.
All right, dope. And then obviously you can check me out here, The Game Drain, with Matt Likes Games, Hard Days Mike, and Twan, which was in the chat just a little bit ago. We'll be
was he?
seeing him back. Yeah,
Yeah,
he
I
was,
appreciate Twan for saying he wants to get the Saboteur, by the way. I saw that. He bought it because of my upsell, and I appreciate that.
Nice.
yeah. So I'm excited to have him back as well next week. But you can also
Absolutely.
find me on Twitter with these mofos at HamSolo05 Gaming. Also on TSWS Gaming on YouTube is my other channel that I do behind them sticks. Next week's episode is gonna be really interesting. But I got Mooch coming on the show on Tuesday, and then the legendary Guapzilla is gonna grace my presence on Thursday. So it will be very interesting. I'm excited to have him because I like to talk to gamers of all sorts. I don't really care about how you act on Twitter because at the end of the day, I got my daughter and my wife, and I don't really care.
Yeah, successful life. Like,
I'm
you
just
have a
having
successful
fun.
life.
Yeah. So but yeah, catch us next week. Like I said, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Midwest, and whatever the hell time y'all do in Hawaii. I don't know. Y'all can just
That's
mark
a weird time zone. I don't
Yeah,
know if
y'all
it
mark your
exists.
calendars for whatever. But anyways, thanks everybody for showing up. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you want to keep seeing more of this type of content. But we'll see you next week.